Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Roast Podcast.
Today we are casual, cool, and sophisticated.
Yes. This episode is going to be a little bit of a mixed bag, I think. We decided
mixed treats.
Mixed treats. I mean, it's Halloween, so it's probably past Halloween now by the time you're hearing this. But we're in Halloween. I'm calling it Halloween.
Halloween, I like that.
Because it is. It's the week of Halloween right now at the time of this recording. So yeah, this is a mixed bag. We're going to be talking about several different films. A couple of them a little bit older, but have come back into, our own access. We've able to kind of access them freely, more than we did maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple that maybe we shouldn't have seen, and then one that maybe I should have seen.
Yeah.
So
Too many movies that you shouldn't have seen, Jordan.
Yeah. Guys, you can follow us on several different places where you can follow podcasts.
This is true. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify.
YouTube, you can go on YouTube and search for us there.
In fact, leave us a comment on YouTube. Would be greatly appreciated. Give us a like, subscribe.
Yeah. Do all that fancy stuff.
Yeah. And who knows? We might actually, give you a shout out. So, because we appreciate our fans.
We do. Last week's trivia, Scotty.
So long ago, even though it was last week. Just not trying to break the fourth wall.
It has been a while though, because we recorded those 2 episodes ages ago, and we did the Yeet and Swag thing that took precedence, and so now it's been.
You know what's funny? You call it Yeet and Swag, I call it Swag and Yeet. Because
no, Yeet and Swag. It's always going to be Yeet and Swag.
Okay.
Because I'm more important than you.
Yeah. Any feedback we've gotten, we really appreciate. So thanks to everyone.
Yes, you guys are awesome.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. There's a little shout out later on that we do for all you guys.
Because we love you.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Also trivia. So
trivia from last week.
It was Judy Garland.
Yay! Good old Jude's.
A late and great. On my mind because of Zenny. Zenwelger. Why can't I say it?
Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, I was getting spinnerized.
Zene Zellweger.
Zene Zellweger.
Her evil twin.
Yeah. I can see her doing that too. She's got a good sense of humor.
She does. She's been out of the loop recently though.
I think
but now she's coming back.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's nice to see her working.
She's a mature, interesting actress who can do quirky, who can do cute, who can do cool, who can do funny, who can punch you in the face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. She can do everything.
This is one of those things like, she's back. It's like we missed her.
It's nice, yeah. I missed her. She's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like when Michael Keaton came back. It's like, we missed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't realize what you got until it's gone.
Yeah.
And then it comes back.
To Beat Paradise, Put Up a Parking Lot, is a song that is not in Shrek.
No, it isn't. But it is by Counting Crows, who have a song in Shrek.
Well, it was originally by Jody Mitchell, but there is a cover by.
Oh, shut up. All right, let's get into it, guys. So we'll just jump straight into
the podcast.
To Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
Just move this to a place where it's actually working for me.
Does it work for you? Does this mic work for you? Does it look good on your resume?
That's enough out of you. Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back after our little interlude, I guess.
Well, that's just breaking the fourth wall here, because you might not have had an interlude at all, but...
I have. You know I have. This is what I always do. Every single time I edit it, I always put a little interlude. Hear that nice, relaxing music.
Oh, I see.
The
you mean in the podcast, not the podcast history?
No, okay. Not the...
Okay.
No, because we're about 3 episodes ahead now. That was...
Yes.
Our Yeet and Swag thing was about 3 episodes.
But yeah, actually, in real life, we're roughly just after when the Yeet and Spike has come out. So
Yeah.
for all the people who've provided feedback and continue to provide feedback, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes, it's been great. Kieran had fantastic feedback. Jesse and Mitch also gave us some great comments about what they loved about it.
Yes.
And yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. It's great. This is
We're having so
like
much fun. So
the most fun I've had making something in quite a while. And if I could put movie reviews on hold and just do that full time, I'd love to do that.
yes, but we don't have the time. It's not that easy, unfortunately. So we'll be making an episode about once a month.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of which, the next episode should be coming out in the next 2 to 3 episodes that we're making.
Yeah, it will be soon from when we
very,
start
very, very soon. And yeah, I'm really excited because this one it's something else. It's something else.
Yeah.
We're going places. We're going places.
Yes.
And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But today we decided to take a look at something that's recently been reignited on Netflix, I guess. Like some of them have always been there, but
Number one's
most
back.
recently, number one, the OG, the first Shrek film is now live on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it, where the hell have you been?
Everyone's seen Shrek.
Well, everyone should have seen Shrek.
Yeah. But why? So why are we talking about it? Why are we talking about a movie?
Why?
Because we wanted to.
Because we wanted to, yeah. It's. I mean, it's part of my childhood. It is part of, growing up. Like we were sitting there watching the first one again, and I had to stop myself from just doing the lines over and over and over again. And this is like, this took place in what, 2003 or something?
Okay, yeah. Mike Myers' heyday, Cameron Diaz,
2001.
Eddie Murphy.
2001.
2001. And the animation, for the most part, still holds up.
Yeah.
It is
still
dated, but it's
good.
very good. Like, there are so many movies from around that era that they look like trash now.
Yeah.
And while this one isn't the best, it has clear... Like, all the animation is functional, and you can tell that it's all been well thought out, well choreographed.
Yes.
It gives character to the characters. Similar to
Yes.
Toy Story in that respect.
Yeah, actually, the animation does remind me a lot of Toy Story in terms of stuff that, it doesn't look like fantastic now when you look back on it, but at the same time, you can kind of put all that aside just because of the way the characters move, but also the story behind it is more overriding to what you're
Well, if you
receiving.
look at the frames, it's actually kind of similar to traditional Disney animated movies back in the day, like Snow White and stuff.
Yeah.
And that it's clearly you've got the forefront characters and then it's the background.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like there's layers on it, and it's never your eyes are always drawn towards what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no wasted space
No, there's not.
at all. What's going on?
Oh, it's just the tape on my mic is.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
We are experiencing interruptions.
We need to upgrade our equipment.
Yep.
But this film is directed by Andrea Adamson and Vicky Jensen, and it was written by Ted Elliott, Terry Rossio, Joe Stillman, and Roger S.H. Schulman.
This film is a parody film.
Yeah,
Which-
of pop culture.
Pop culture, also fairy tale movies, obviously. And I mean, it takes digs at The Matrix, and
It takes digs at pretty much everything that came out in the last 10 years before this film.
yeah,
But it does it takes aim at stuff that I don't know. It's kind of hard because when you're doing that during the times, like what's relevant 10 years from now? You know what I mean? Like, is this going to have the longevity of a film that?
but it does the parody stuff right because it's funny
But
as
that's
a
it.
parody, but it's also funny as it's
By
standalone
itself,
thing.
yeah. Like when Fiona's doing that, the Matrix
Yeah.
kind of kick, the Trinity kick, where she's like, the camera goes around her and she's bam. But it's still funny because she's like fixing her hair up and
Yeah.
she's acting like the time difference doesn't affect her.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because it's a funny character moment as well as being it's taking a parody of Matrix.
Yeah. I think it's also wise to note that Ted Elliott, one of the guys who wrote most of this movie, he also did Aladdin
Yeah.
for Disney. So I find that, it's interesting because thinking about it, Jafar and Farquaad
Yes, they have
have a little in common.
They do.
As villains go, they're very similar. Where like there's an element of comedy to them. Like they're a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's quite funny.
and
to
they're
watch
simple.
them.
They've got a simple ambition,
Yes. Yeah.
which means they can go full on evil without the character not making any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, starring in this film is Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and John Lithgow. They're the main kind of cast of characters. But this film also has a whole host of great cameos.
Yeah, John Cummings.
Yep. We got Vincent Cassell. With Chris Miller, we have Jim Cummings, like you said. Jim Cummings, if you don't know who he is a phenomenal voice actor who's been working in film and TV animation since very early on in his career. Like pretty much almost exclusively has been a voice actor.
Yep.
And you might recognize him as the voice of Winnie the Pooh, of Tigger. He plays the guard in Aladdin that predominantly chases Aladdin around.
Straight rat.
He also took over from what's his face when
Thingamajig.
Scar in The Lion King when he hurt his vocal cords.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, thank you. I'm so that's so bad.
Jordan hasn't had his coffee today, or his cocaine.
I haven't had anything yet, so I am acid free, if you will.
And gravelly, mature voice coming to you close.
Tired voice. But yeah, it's great. It definitely seems like these guys all got together to make something fun together.
I think that's the thing with Shrek is it's a fun movie that everyone was clearly passionate about.
Yes.
And they all had a blast making it.
And
similar to Aladdin in that respect, because I think the people making Aladdin.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's fun, and how can you not like when you got someone like Robin Williams?
Yeah.
And you are literally letting him ad lib stuff
on the fly.
For the record, most animated films will have at least a rough animation cut before the voices get added.
They sort of need to because of the way production works.
Exactly, and it's easy to do that. For Aladdin, they didn't do that. They let Robin Williams just do his thing, and then they animated stuff for his voice.
But that's because with
that's
Aladdin,
Robin Williams.
They did that from the pitch. Like
yes,
that was the whole idea from the get-go. Was that we're going to use Robin Williams? We'll let Robin Williams be Robin Williams. And
fantastic idea. I can't believe we're talking about Aladdin more than Shrek at the moment.
But this is the world that sort of Shrek comes into. CGI is now the new format.
Yes.
And how do you make a new format?
Well, it's the new toy. It's the big new toy.
But it's coming from DreamWorks, a big new studio. And what do DreamWorks want to do the most? They want to take the Mickey out of Disney.
Yes.
And that's a pun intended, by the way.
Yeah, and they I just realized, it just clicked. I'm so tired this morning. But yeah, no, and even like right down to the princesses that Lord Farquaad sees through the mirror, they're dressed almost identical.
And Snow White.
They're dressed almost identical to the Disney characters.
Yep.
There's almost no change whatsoever. Like usually, you would make it your own, but they're like, no, we're going to rip them straight up because we'll make you fun of them.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's fantastic. And I love everything from, Lord Farquaad's introduction, where he's walking down the hall and it's a low angle frame, and he's walking, gets to the door, and he's close up facing the door, and then he walks forward and he just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's half the size of the guards as he walks past them.
And it's great.
And then we have one of the most quotable scenes in the whole. I mean, the whole movie's quotable, but I think the interrogation scene.
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Yeah.
You're a monster. Yeah, I can go through that whole scene.
Eat me.
It's fantastic. And John Lithgow as the voice of Lord Farquaad is probably my favorite part. Like, I feel like Mike Myers, I feel like you could probably cast almost anyone that can do a Scottish accent into that role and it would still work.
Yeah.
Whereas John Lithgow, I feel like if you take him out and replace him with anyone else, it does not work. It just does not work.
Or I think Eddie Murphy's also.
Eddie Murphy's also another one that you can't replace in this film. And those two, and same with Catherine Diaz. I feel like you can also replace her easily.
Cameron Diaz, yeah. I mean, she's just Cameron Diaz. So
did I say Catherine?
yeah, you did.
Someone give me my cocaine.
Don't do drugs, kids. Just watch Shrek.
Yeah. But one thing that I wanted to talk about is just Shrek as a whole, because it started off really well. And then what happened?
Okay. We're talking about the movies here.
Yeah, as a general franchise thing.
I think we could talk about DreamWorks as a whole when we get into this.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna look at the history of DreamWorks.
yeah, no. There's this thing with sequels in general, apart from when Pixar does it, except when, but even they do it with Cars and with other they have their stupid movies, where you just go to the lowest common denominator when you're doing a sequel, because it's like they'll know they make bank, but they don't. It's actually quite hard to find an interesting, new, innovative idea on a sequel, unless you've got strong characters in the first one. So that's why I think Toy Story works, is that they were always able to do something new with the world, because they've got Andy and his relation to the toys, and they can do something different. So in that respect, Toy Story was always clear on how it would do its sequels. Mm-hmm. Whereas with other animated franchises, Shrek, for example, I mean, they just go to, okay, they're married, what happens next? They meet the parents. Okay, that's fine. And to be fair, Shrek 2 is not the worst.
No, I actually think it's up there with the first one as being one of the more well-rounded movies of the franchise.
I struggle to remember most of it, but I did enjoy the villains.
Yeah.
That's the part I remember in the movie.
And John, what's his name? From Monty Python. He plays the father.
Yes.
And it's great. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for not being able to remember, but I'm not going to stop. So
don't stop. Yeah.
It's interesting because DreamWorks has had more of a history with live action films than they've had with animation films. And they produced things like Saving Private Ryan, Galaxy Quest, and the first kind of animated film they ever did was The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, which is amazing, but that's hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, very different. And then as they went on, they also did Road to El Dorado, which is another hand-drawn animation.
It's also great. But no, after that, when we get to the CGI movies, we're getting Over the Hedge, Shark's Tale.
They went through a whole lot of... wow.
I mean, people love these movies. Some people do love Shark's Tale and Over the Hedge, but I'm not a fan of either of those movies.
They have their moments, but they're not well-made films.
No.
They're not well-made films.
Hoodwinked I actually didn't mind so much. Is that
Hoodwinked?
Is that DreamWorks? I feel like.
I'm not even sure.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. But Hoodwinked was terrible animation, but great script.
Fantastic script.
Fantastic script. Shrek was the first CGI only film for DreamWorks. So it was their flagship, almost. And it was followed up. I think it was followed up by Shrek 2. But they went through so many
writers changes.
Oh my! No, even just films in general before they did another animation. Mm-hmm. Today we've got what?
Hoodwinked is a Weinstein Company movie. Anyway, continue.
That's a bad taste in the mouth. But I'm going to move straight on to Shrek 2. And this increases the cast with, obviously you got Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz. But now you got Julie Andrews as Cameron Diaz's mother, Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, which is a fantastic addition.
Yeah, that was Puss in Boots. I mean, once again though, that they wrung out that as far as they could go.
John Cleese.
Yes, John Cleese.
I can't believe I forgot his name. Rupert Everett as the new villain.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. And Jennifer Saunders as Fairy Godmother, I believe.
The bigger villain.
The bigger villain, yes. But Rupert Everett as Prince Charming.
He's hilarious.
It's fantastic casting.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he speaks, and like he speaks a very, oh, hello mother, and he like he's got a very a lilting voice, and he's such a pussy.
Yeah, he's such a mama's boy.
He is.
It's great.
It's fantastic to laugh and watch, because he's not really a man.
Yeah. But the thing I remember at Shrek 2 is, like, I remember all the side characters, but I don't remember Shrek that well in the sequel.
Shrek becomes a man. You don't actually see a lot of Shrek the ogre.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
visually you're taken away from what the physical characteristics of what makes Shrek.
Yeah, that's probably why I do remember that now.
Yeah. And it makes for some great moments, like when he's he's waking up after transforming into a man, and there's like these three women who come across him, and they're like, "Oh, hello, handsome man," and he's still getting used to this new thing, and then Donkey comes through, and Donkey is now a white horse.
Yes, that's right. He becomes that's hilarious.
He becomes a stallion, and he's going crazy because he's a steed, and it's fantastic.
Noble steed.
Also, one thing that I really liked about this was with the treatment of Puss in Boots, it would be easy to make that a point of emotional contention for the film, but they refused to do it, which is nice.
Similar to how Jessie was treated in Toy Story 2?
Yeah, to a point. Yeah, to a point. But more so because he starts off as an assassin, and then he decides, you know what, screw this, I'm going to join you guys because I don't like the person who's paid me and all this other stuff. But they do it in a way that doesn't feel like it's forced.
No.
Which is nice.
Actually, it's more like Princess Bride, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we can talk about that as well, because Princess Bride has a lot of influence,
I think that's
on this film series as a whole. And if you don't know what Princess Bride is,
we'll go watch the movie.
Go watch the movie. I think it is on Netflix right now.
It's on Amazon Prime as well.
Oh, well, there you go. It's on Amazon Prime and or Netflix. I'm not really sure if it is on Netflix, but yeah, go watch it because it is an amazing film. We both had a friend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In college who refused to watch it because he thought it was a girly movie. That still bugs me to this day. It still bugs me to this day.
It's funny.
Because the whole premise of Princess Bride is this grandfather telling his grandson a story which the grandson assumes is a girly movie, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Or a girly story, but it isn't. So please go watch that. But there's influences of how they've told the story, and also...
We're just falling to pieces.
I have things
us.
just falling around.
It's really hot. Just to clarify, we're actually doing this in the morning, this podcast.
We've had to because it's really warm.
It's disgusting.
Yesterday it got up to like 34 degrees.
We're not at the height of summer yet in Australia's temperatures. I'm kind of considering moving to Canada.
Global warming doesn't exist.
Greenland.
I wouldn't mind moving to Canada, actually. Canada wouldn't be a bad place to go.
No, it'd be nice. Vancouver, you got any spots?
And they got a great media connections over there.
Far better than Australia does.
They turn out a lot more films, a lot higher quality movies as well. Sometimes
not to say much. Ride Me Like a Girl. Oh no, that's not what it is. It's Ride Like a Girl. That's it. There's a new Australian movie.
Ride Me Like a Girl. Oh, Freudian slips are not a good thing, Scotty.
They are when they're intended.
But and this going back to Shrek 2. Yeah. This film also introduces a little bit more of a familial problem in that the in-laws don't get along with Shrek.
Well, I love it because this is very natural.
That's what I'm saying. It's very familiar, and it's very much a part of the family unit of using something very familiar for the audience
something
to connect
that's a
to.
natural part of life.
Yeah.
I mean, people do it all the time. So often it's a movie trope. It's like, okay, meet the in-laws.
Yeah.
but this has it because it's Shrek. It's a fantasy.
Well,
King Queen.
Meet the Fockers is one that
I was thinking that one too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's. I'm just gonna say I know how Shrek feels in this movie.
Oh, your in-laws aren't that bad.
No, they're most of the time we get along. We get along pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the feeling, and not just from a a family standpoint, but also like just not being accepted.
Oh,
in,
not being taken or being accepted. You expect to be expected.
Yeah.
Accepted, and then there's an expectation. Okay, you need to earn it a bit.
Because
more.
when they show up, they are they're surrounded by an unfamiliar place.
Yeah.
They're not happy. Like people aren't happy with them. Like when they open the onion carriage door, when they step out for the first time, the whole crowd just gasps, and then this poor pigeon is so distracted by the what's going on, it flies into a wall and dies.
Yeah.
And it just sums up.
I mean, also it's continuing the bird death humor of Shrek. It's all a great trope,
it's fantastic, and they lean into it.
Yeah.
And this film, I feel it parodies, like where the first film was parodying more like fairy tales and Disney. This one is parodying Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because they show up with the red carpet, and the whole aspect of like how important is image.
Yeah.
And how important is fame, and how important is...
if there was any backlash from the first one, it was actually talking about image.
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, Shrek wasn't doing it enough. And some people were like, I can't believe they were talking about this in a kid's film, and just by the fact that they're ogres and they're ugly.
Yeah.
But it's like, I thought that was funny. It's like, but it's all about inner beauty. The funny thing about Shrek is it is actually a fairy tale, even though it's a mockery of fairy tales.
It's still a fairy tale at the end of the day. Like we have, these characters with a preconceived idea of what living happily ever after really means, and then it gets turned on its head. It gets turned on its head because Shrek doesn't believe that he has a happily ever after, and Fiona's version of happily ever after that she's been brought up to believe is like a hollow shell of a relationship with somebody that she's never met before.
Yeah.
And she has no connection with.
Well, she's been stuck in a tower.
Yeah. And then at the end, like, they twist that around, and Shrek and Fiona find that they can actually be happy where they're at instead of, trying to change themselves for something else. And then the second film comes along and plays with that a little bit more, because we have, Shrek not wanting to go visit the in-laws because he doesn't want to change for anybody. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to just stay in his comfortable swamp and make everyone else leave him alone. And then he does try to change, though. He does try to change for Fiona, which is admirable.
Yes.
But also misguided. And they have this great scene at the very end of the film where they can choose to kiss and they remain human, but they choose not to because it's not their true selves.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's
being true to your true self is
in
the family zone as well. Which is you know what's interesting?
Yes.
Is I was looking at the Disney movies that came out the same year.
Oh, okay.
So in 2001, when Shrek came out, Princess Diaries came out.
Oh, wow.
Snow White was re-released on special edition.
Uh-huh.
Monsters, Inc., if that sort of counts.
That definitely counts. That's
Atlantis, The Lost Empire came out, which is got
very limited run.
Yeah.
Atlantis, I personally believe, is one of the worst Disney films of all time that's been released by them.
Yeah.
For a mainstream audience. I don't... as a childhood memories go, it's got some fantastic elements to it, but overall, it's not... Like, go back and try and quote some of that film.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, there's maybe one or two characters that I can probably pull a quote out of.
It was actually Iceland. No, it was not Ireland. They got the letters mixed up. That's the only thing, because that's the plot. That's the whole plot of the movie. So they got a letter mixed up. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh dear. It's not
but looking at what Disney's doing behind the scenes, they were really playing into their fairy tale roots.
Yes.
With their theme parks, with their TV.
Yeah.
But
they were also. I'm pretty sure they were also developing. Because Toy Story 2 came out, 2003?
No, it came out before then. It came out in 1998.
No, wasn't that the first one?
Oh, Toy Story 2.
Yeah, I mean Toy Story 2.
When did Toy Story 2 came out?
I know for sure that they were developing The Lion King around then. Like it wasn't released yet, but they were developing it around. Oh no, that was years ago.
That was a decade before then. 99 was Toy Story 2. No, that's already come out as well.
So that's already come out. What were they working on in terms of films?
Okay, so
what came out?
They were in a
after this?
lull, and they were was Treasure Planet about to come out?
Oh, so it was really during the
Yeah.
the dwindling years
Yeah.
of hand-drawn animation.
Where movies like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were starting to rule the roost, as opposed to classic animated movies.
Live action fantasy as opposed to hand-drawn fantasy.
But when 2004 comes along, Shrek 2, it's competing against The Incredibles.
Oh yeah.
So family movies,
family movies get a boost.
Yeah.
And CGI is now, it's starting to reach like a pinnacle of mainstream entertainment.
National Treasure was actually one of the
I
biggest
remember.
movies.
I remember National
Disney had.
Treasure. That was actually really fun.
But also
And Nicolas Cage.
between 2001 2004, Disney were re-releasing, and I think they still were for another till the end of the decade. They were remastering all their old movies and releasing them.
Well, it's interesting because the kid who did the singing voice of Simba in The Lion King as a kid, his mother agreed to forego any original payment. So they were going to pay him $2 million. So instead, she said, "No, we want to get paid in royalties from here on out."
Oh.
And so he's set for life. Like he's getting constant payments.
Good for him.
Like, and he's already, I think, in the first 3 years of his after doing The Lion King, he already reached 2 million.
Yeah.
And because they keep re-releasing The Lion King, he just keeps getting royalties from it. And
I mean,
great.
if you did that for Aladdin, Lion King, Mulan,
Cinderella.
I'm just thinking that period of Disney. I mean, if you did it for Cinderella or
Very smart. That's why
Snow White, like those people.
you're a mogul.
Yeah, exactly. You put your name's Walt Disney. That's actually what
that's it. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's interesting how it works. It's
Disney
really interesting how it works.
They just take their franchises and their movies. Like, if Kristen Bell did it for Frozen, how much money would she be loaded in?
She'd be loaded.
Yeah.
And it's only been 3, 4, 5 years?
Actually,
now?
it's been longer than we think since Frozen 1 came out. But yeah,
God, yeah, I feel like it was just
yesterday. Moana's 3 years, and that song's still being played over and over and over again.
Insane. But Moana is a better film, in my opinion, than Frozen.
I think Moana is. I think. I don't like The Rock in it, which is kind of scary to see.
I actually like. I think The Rock in that film is one of his best performances ever.
Yeah, yeah, but I think his character in that movie could have been better.
It could have been, but I don't know. I feel like it would have taken a little bit more focus off where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of happy with how it ended up.
I'm kind of curious about Taika Waititi's original script as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think when it comes to Hollywood, just filmmaking in general, there's. I mean, I think I've talked about this before, where you've got your idea before you start writing. Then you get your first draft, then you get a film script, then you get the actual film, and then you get the rough edit or the final edit that is done. So you got 5 different versions of a film.
Yeah, exactly. And also
all of them are different.
and also they all have different purposes as well. So
Yes.
some of them are used for the purpose of pitching, some of them are used for the purpose of
selling, selling
exactly.
to a distributor, and other ones are used for the purpose of maybe even garnering Academy Awards.
And often the zeitgeist has changed from the beginning when it's written to when it's so
Halfway
themes
through
might
they have to change it and think about something different and open their minds up a little bit more to turning it on its head maybe. Filmmaking is a very arduous process, and while I have fun knocking some movies, it is at the end of the day a very hard thing. It's a miracle that most films get released.
Yeah. If we say a movie's bad, we're sad for it because
every film has potential, and all of the people working on those films are people that do deserve respect. So it's not the people that we knock mostly. It's more coming from a place of lamenting what could have been if there was more time given to certain ideas. Like Gemini Man, for instance. There's some good ideas there that could have worked.
Double Tap.
And oh yeah.
So Jordan went and saw Zombieland Double Tap,
And then
and we're not doing a podcast individually on it because you shouldn't see it.
yeah, it was a bit of a waste of time, really. So it's been, I think it's been almost 12 years
Yeah, which is crazy as well.
since the last one, or maybe a little less. I think it was 2011.
9?
I don't know. I can't remember. But it's you go for it.
I will
Scotty,
go
you look it up.
investigate.
But it's not. It hasn't aged well. The whole idea of a zombie film is very overrated. You're gonna have to do something a little different nowadays to really.
Yeah, 2009.
So it was 2009. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 years. 10 years. Actors haven't changed much in the film,
No.
which is weird. The characters are basically the same.
But does Woody Harrelson ever change?
Well, yeah, he's a lot better in other films.
That's true. Woody Harrelson is when he commits to a role, he's a very good
It's
actor.
fantastic. Like in the Planet of the Apes film that he was in,
He's the best,
fantastic
Well.
role.
one of the two best bits.
And Hunger Games. He was in Hunger
he's
Games.
very good in Hunger Games.
But he was also in No Country for Old Men.
Yes, he's fantastic in that.
He's fantastic in that. He's fantastic in a lot of serious, like more serious stuff.
True Detective.
True Detective, yeah. But in this, he just doesn't feel like I don't feel like he really cared, and a lot of the jokes just. It felt like an SNL skit that had been dragged out too long. That's what it felt like, because there were gags and there were sight gags.
I know a little bit about how the the actors are marketing the movie, and I get the feeling that all of them just feel like we signed the contract to do this movie, and we expected
like
it to have,
10 years ago.
and we expected it to come out 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we
Why? What kind of things were they saying?
Oh, they were sort of blaming other, like they're blaming Deadpool for the fact the movie ain't come out and stuff like that.
come on.
And no, exactly. I'm saying it's like they were trying to eschew the fact that
that this film is out of place and should have been released.
it's okay. Movie
Okay,
makers.
for reference, 7 years ago they tried to make a TV show about Zombieland with the same characters but with TV actors in the roles. And I think it lasted for 3 episodes before it was cancelled. That should tell you something about how, like, zombie films or zombie-themed films, they were a mid-2000s thing.
Yeah.
And that's where they stayed.
I mean, The Walking Dead just walked itself to death, so...
Yeah, and that was after the 3rd season. And we're on, like, season 13 now or some bullshit.
How lucky.
Terrible. Yeah, zombies are...
Dime a dozen.
They're an apocalyptic wet dream for
The ones that work
gun nuts in the States.
The ones that work are accidental, like World War Z.
Yeah, World War Z, but World War Z was more than just a zombie film.
Yeah.
That was more like an investigative reporting action drama.
Yeah, and also it sort of followed the line of 27 Days Later and How to Do a Zombie Movie as well, which I think is the right way. In terms of
there's 2 ways you can do it. You can fully
there's more than 2, but yeah.
Well, there's you can fully commit to making this both a comedy and a social justice film, like Shaun of the Dead did.
Yeah.
Where they talked about technology and also the fact that we as human beings just don't care about each other anymore, and flipped it on its head with the family unit. Or you can take it super serious, like 27 Days Later or 28 Days Later, all of them actually, and also World War Z, and make it something with a bit more oomph.
Yeah.
And that they're actually believing in, like the actors are believing in.
They make it a high functioning disaster movie.
Yeah, and this film, it doesn't feel like it's an actual, like, it doesn't feel like anyone believed in this.
It doesn't feel
in
like
this movie.
Well, from what I've heard, is like the movie is a collage of set pieces that don't feel interconnected in the slightest.
No, they don't. Not even characters. Like, there's no. There's no villain. There's no even the zombies aren't villains. Like it's weird. Like it's
Because they're so good at killing them now, it doesn't matter.
yeah. And they try to make it more interesting by introducing like there's different types of zombies now. Like there's ones that are really dumb, and then there's ones that are really smart, and there's ones that are really strong and hard to kill. And we call them the T-18000 from Terminator. I wonder what's coming out soon that we can rip off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're reaching for straws, and it's not fun. It's not funny. Like I was sitting with my workmates at the end of the film, and we walked out. They were like, "Oh yeah, that was funny," but I distinctly remember throughout that whole film, they only laughed 3 times, and all of the other jokes just fell flat. Like nobody in the cinema laughed at certain points where they should have, or if I was the director, I would have wanted them to laugh.
You should have seen Hustlers.
I should have. I would have loved to, but they changed the times on me.
Did they?
Yeah, I was going to go see it Thursday evening at like 6 with M, and I had already looked at the times. Partially my fault because I forgot to book at the beginning of the week. But by the time Thursday rocked around, times had disappeared.
Huh.
So the only time was 9:45 p.m. I'm not going to do that. Like,
Correct yourself.
well, it's way too late, especially if you're working the next day.
Yeah.
I wasn't. M was, so not going to go see it, unfortunately. But how was it? You saw it.
Yeah, it was really... It was good. To say it's really good is kind of
I feel
a
like
statement.
I feel like this film has the expectation of being the Ocean's 11 film all-female cast that we should have gotten rather than the one we got like last year.
Yeah. So the film's shot as if it's investigative journalism again. So in the backdrop of the story being told is interviewer played by Julia Stiles interviewing...
Julia Stiles is in this movie.
Yeah, not for much, but she's in this movie.
Oh, I didn't advertise that. I like Julia Stiles. She's great.
She serves her purpose in this movie.
Yeah.
She's not actually got that much to do. But-
okay.
But what she does is like she's there to be sort of a non-critical voice on...
This is starting to sound like not Split, the one after Split, where what's-her-face is like the doctor, and she serves no purpose whatsoever in the whole film, but she's just there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Glass.
she's the... in Glass. She's like the psychiatrist that is like orchestrating it all, and then by the end of the film, she's the reason why everything's happening, but at the same time, it's not really important.
So she serves a purpose to bounce off other characters.
Yeah, right.
Or just one character.
Or for characters to kind of speak their minds and flesh things out. Yeah, okay.
So I think the film's really hard on... What's the Asian actress's name? Rachel Kwan? Is that her name?
Oh, from Crazy Rich
Yeah.
Asians.
Because she has a lot to do in this movie. And there are times when...
Yeah, she seems like from the trailers, because I've only seen one trailer.
Because she's the one who's being interviewed.
She seems like the fish out of water character that the audience kind of sees things through. Like she's new to the job almost.
That's how the movie sets it up at the start. You can realize that's wrong, but yes, there is that setup at the start. She's Destiny. That's the name of her character. One thing I think the movie does really well is it plays on the stereotypes and it admits
they're strippers. They're
strippers.
They're
Yeah.
strippers.
But pole dancers.
Strippers.
Yes, and they do the dirty work, and I mean that in all senses of the word. Yeah, I do. Sorry, Jordan, to make you feel sick, but that's sort of. But you don't get to see it. They're actually quite. What they show on screen is very. It's never demeaning to any of the actors or the characters they're playing. I think.
That's good.
There are some things that are assumed to happen, but you don't. You don't actually have to ever see that.
Yeah, it's not imperative to the story that you see anything.
In fact, what I think
Tastefully done.
Yeah, it is actually surprisingly tastefully done. And I mean, the core of this movie is the friendship between J-Lo's character and Destiny, and that's fantastic. When you see that and you see their story together, that's what makes the movie pop.
Okay,
that's
good though. That's like
and family is a big. The family they make is a big influence on this movie. Sometimes it gets a bit too political with they talk about the GFC and how it's reacting to stuff, and it feels like it's almost A equals B when it's you can tell there's more than that going on, and you wish they would just explore more of what's going on.
But maybe that's it. Maybe that's.
I think they were just simplifying it, but it detracted from the friendship group that was going on, and that was more exciting to me.
Human beings tend to try to oversimplify things, though, to make.
And there's another. So there's basically 4 in the group who end up stealing from people, and one of them is a blonde chick who's damaged. She's really damaged, and her story.
I think that's played by the chick from the Archie series on Netflix, the Riverdale.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she's
really good. In fact, all the actors are really good. I just think the screen time given to the Asian lead actress might have been detrimental to her in terms of like she had almost too much to do, and
it took away some of that character.
Well, J-Lo's character was so powerful in the movie, you almost wanted more of her.
Yeah.
And their relation to the other is also great, and you almost wanted more of that as well, especially towards the end of the movie. Like you get a great payoff at the end, but at the same time I wanted more.
Yeah,
which is a good thing because that shows that their chemistry was actually really good. Their chemistry was really good.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It actually is a feel-good movie in some respects too. You come out of the movie and you feel, people are good. There's hope in the world.
That's very odd.
Yeah,
coming from a film that does not look like that.
No.
Interesting. That's good.
Have you seen American Gangster, right? The Russell Crowe.
Yeah, and Denzel Washington.
You know at the ending of that movie, it's
been so long since I've seen that movie. Okay. The only thing I can really remember is Russell Crowe smashing down a door and beating the shit out of this guy. And I think that's...
And that was in the press conference. That was in the movie.
Russell Crowe's violence. Yeah. But that's all I can remember from that film, because I think I only saw it once.
Okay. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I can't remember who made it.
It's Ridley Scott.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I think it's Ridley Scott.
One of his hits rather than his misses.
Yeah. He produced something recently, I noticed. We were watching. It was the Gendarme.
Oh yeah, Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Yes.
On Amazon Prime. Yeah, he did produce it, or he executive produced it.
Yeah.
Either way, he's a few steps away from the creative process.
That's an entertaining show.
It's got a lot of misses, but at the same time, when it hits, and it hits really well.
No, also because of what it is, the misses is you're very forgiving.
So the premise is Jean-Claude Van Damme, the action hero from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He isn't actually an actor. He's a secret agent, assassin.
And the movies
and he uses film as his cover.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's fantastic because we got Jean-Claude Van Damme taking the mickey out of himself, which is awesome. I love it when actors do that.
Yeah.
Just in general. Another film that does that actually is Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, the movie on Netflix, which is fantastic.
So good.
Watch it, please, because it's so much fun, and it's an easy watch as well. Like you can drift in and out, and you don't feel like you're obligated to invest heavily in the film.
It's a good mealtime movie.
Yeah.
Or a work project movie.
Yeah, like you can work and look up and enjoy a laugh here and there and then go back to
the sort of movie you expect to be on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, if we're saying it, let's say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Netflix has got a lot of movies coming out. Just I think 5 or 6 movies just came out. They're all reasonably interesting. So.
Well, they often do that where they go for a month and then they have this big movie dump, and then they go for another month or two, and then they have a TV dump, and then they just keep doing that for the rest of the year.
Cycles.
What was it? About 6 months ago, I was actually contemplating cancelling my Netflix, and then they released a whole bunch of stuff. Looking for Alaska.
Yep.
Is another one that's out at the moment, which I highly recommend people watch. It's really great.
And I've heard good things about Living with You, Paul Rudd and Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd, starring Paul Rudd and Paul Rudd.
And Aisling B.
And this is the same, and I'm no, I'm going to keep Netflix on for a bit. I might cancel my Stan account, though, because almost all the stuff I watch on Stan is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
anyway.
I've noticed that. to.
So I'm like, and Amazon
Stan isn't
Prime
getting
is cheaper.
exclusive. Yeah, and Stan isn't getting exclusives as much anymore.
Stan isn't getting good exclusives as much anymore. Like, there's a few here and there that are decent, but all of the Australian stuff that it was making, first of all, wasn't that great. And second of all, they've noticed this and they've pretty much cancelled most of it.
Which is a shame, because I think they just need to get better writers. and better
I
directors.
honestly think, I don't think it's so much better writers. I think anyone with enough time and with that training can make something good out of it. I just don't think they have the time. I think Stan has kind of just roped a bunch of people together and said, you have to make this by this time. And they're like, oh shit, that's a deadline and a half. Let's get cracking, I guess. And so they've made something that just isn't really great just because they don't have the time to polish it. And that's the unfortunate thing about Australian film that I've noticed more so about almost anywhere else, is there's not a lot of emphasis on from like studios and stuff on making sure that whoever they're hiring has everything together at the right time. So we've got like
they don't have
Vince Gilligan. Vince Gilligan came down to Australia last year, or was it the year before?
Just explain who Vince Gilligan is.
Vince Gilligan is the award-winning writer, director, and creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, among other projects that he's worked on. But he came down to Australia for a creative conference where he sat in a room and he got pitched a bunch of ideas from Australian writers, and the whole premise was, if one of them was a winner to him, he would actually help them get it made. He went back to the States with nothing, and the reason being, and the reason he gave was, I think writers in Australia need to spend more time in the writer's room, which means they're not giving time to their ideas enough to flesh them out. Which means, and we can say, oh, but writers should know better, the Australian writers should know better. But at the same time, if the Australian system, if the Australian creative system is forcing writers to focus more on how fast they can pump out an idea over how much quality it actually has, then no, it's not just the writer's fault. It's our system. Our system is flawed to the max. It's insane.
I actually know quite a lot of people who have left that industry and just gone into normal writing industry.
Yeah.
Because the Victorian writers, they've got a group.
Writers Guild.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's Writers Guild. It's Victorian Writers Guild.
They're very strong and they take care of themselves. In fact, Melbourne, after Edinburgh, is like the second biggest writers' city in the world. So they have a strong ethos and community there where they take the time to make the product they want, and they all look after each other.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I want to go back to Victoria and start writing books. Move to Melbourne.
You want
to move to Melbourne, Jordan? Should we just go to Melbourne?
I mean, we could try. We'll see how this podcast pans out first.
Yeah, okay.
See where it takes us. Because it could take us beyond Melbourne. It could take us
to Vancouver.
Tasmania.
The third reaches of hell.
Who knows where it could take us. But this is the biggest, I think, the biggest problem with Australia in terms of film and television. Very rarely do Australian homegrown producers give Australian homegrown writers enough time to actually get what they want done.
And they always make stupid stuff like Ride Me Like a Girl.
Ride Like a Girl. That film is very, very bland, very generic.
I will say one thing, is it's nice to see a... okay, I'm going to forget the name of that specific disorder actor. They've got a special actor.
Oh, okay.
In the movie, which is nice.
Nice.
And it reminds me of Peanut Butter Falcon, which is a much better movie. And has a fantastic lead actor.
Yeah, with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And apparently, he's actually, it's not his first film that he's acted in. He's been around. He's been around doing stuff.
That's fantastic.
And it's great to see. I love it. And Shia LaBeouf, I think he also helped write Peanut Butter Falcon as well. And fantastic film. But this is the thing, I feel like you go to America and you've got A24, who's one of the biggest indie production companies in America, who cannot make a bad film. Honestly, like, even if you don't like a film that they've made, there is artistic merit there that they've given credence to the director to kind of just go, do your thing, and as long as you believe it, we'll believe it too.
What's Brad Pitt's one called? Brad Pitt's one?
Plan B.
Plan B. They are also doing a really good
Yes, yeah.
job. There's a new movie coming out. I think it's just come out in the States, which is like, it was just a complete indie filmmaker, and they pitched the idea to Brad Pitt. And was like, yeah, it's a great idea. So
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a bunch of really, really fantastic indie films that Australia never gets to see.
Never gets to make.
Never gets to make. Well, we've made a few here and there. There's been some
cool
fantastic ones. But honestly, you'd be lucky to find one every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane. It's insane. Like America and England as well. Like
New Zealand's doing
Europe.
Well, New Zealand does a better job than we do.
Honestly, New Zealand, whatever they're doing is working.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think you can thank Taika Waititi for a lot of that.
Well, I think Peter Jackson started it.
Well, Peter Jackson definitely did start it, but I feel like Taika's influence in New Zealand cinema is something that has fleshed it out a lot more.
New Zealand comedy as a thing
Yeah.
has come from Taika, and thanks. Flight of the Conchords has had a massive...
Flight of the Conchords. Like, well, Taika was a huge
that's what I'm saying.
hand in that, yeah.
This
a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people don't put Taika and Flight of the Conchords together, but Taika is actually a producer on that show,
exactly.
and he wrote most of the first season of that show, which is like, it's insane to see like how many things that he had influence in during that time, or just across his whole career. Actually, I recently saw a little video. I think it was Variety posted a video because Ryan Reynolds and Taika are in a new film coming out end of next year. I think. I can't remember what the film is, but their interaction was hilarious because like it's fantastic to just work for the first time with Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds like, yeah, no, it's great. Like I've always like we've never met before. This is the first time we're meeting, and this is just like I've always wanted to work with you. And if you're not clued into the joke, they're making fun of the fact that that the Green Lantern, because they're both in the Green Lantern, they're making fun of the fact that the Green Lantern should not exist.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I love it. A lot of jokes have been made at the expense of that movie.
So next week we're doing Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah, all right. No, we can do that. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. We've done
a full podcast.
Yeah, we've done a full podcast. We've been talking shit about like several different things. I think this is more of a catch up.
Yeah, we wanted to.
This is a catch up.
We wanted to be casual this week. Like we didn't want to do a full podcast on the Hustlers or the Hustlers. On Hustlers.
It was a week. It was a difficult week. Usually we do find time to go see stuff, but I feel like with the heat,
weeks, yeah.
I don't operate well with heat.
Me neither.
I can't. It's so hard to think.
Switch off, and especially when you have to work hard at work, it's like you like.
Yeah. And then
mush.
every day when you come back, like, it's good because I've been more motivated to like exercise.
Oh, that's good. I haven't.
But it's still just like.
You know what I've been motivated to do?
What?
Sleep.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic idea.
Well, I think we'll have a short break and we'll come back.
Yes. Let's do that. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. And we're back.
Guess who's back?
Back again. Do you have trivia?
I have trivia, yeah.
You got some trivia?
Yeah.
Let's hit up that trivia.
This person's middle name is John. I like middle names. Middle names are fun.
Middle names are fun. It'd be funny if it was a female and her middle name is John.
OC. This person's OC. Born May 25th, 1963. Is a Canadian. Actor or actress.
Uh-huh.
Comedian or comedian. Screenwriter or screenwriteress. And producer.
I feel like you're adding way too much.
Yeah, okay. Keep going. Who holds Canadian, British, and American citizenship.
Lucky motherfuckers.
Starred well, known as performer on the SNL from '89 to a certain period of time, and has played quite a few major roles in film franchises, and that's all I'm telling you.
Great. I think I know who it is. But if you know, I didn't realize his middle name was John.
Or her middle name.
Or her middle name was John. Oh, okay, guys. If you know who it is, I don't care. But if you feel like it, just drop us a comment or something. And
We'd
tell
love
us-
to hear. You
tell
know
us
what?
how
Put
you
it on our
feeling.
put it on our YouTube, and the one who gets to the top YouTube comment with the trivia answer may get a shout out.
May you shout out. I think we need to do something else. I think we need to. If we get, I'm thinking here.
Tick tock, tick.
If we, if we get the answer for this episode, I'll personally buy you 2 tickets, like a coupon to the cinema near you.
Oh,
2 tickets.
2 tickets.
I'll buy you 2 tickets. It's an investment. And if you can't do that, well, I'm keeping the 2 tickets.
Okay. So there's free tickets in this, guys. Leave a topic. Leave
Leave an answer
down below.
Oh God, we're so tired. I'm gonna look back on this and regret this so bad.
Bets made. While
Also, it's only going to be one person, so it's going to be literally the first person to
race
comment.
to the top.
So
we'll
if you
give
miss
shout-outs to more
out,
people, but yes, it'll be
if you miss out, then I'm sorry. There's no, you can't.
no tasty backsies.
No,
I'm just gonna put the first comment in there and just troll you.
don't you fucking dare. Also, if you're related to me by marriage or in a close friendship with me, I can't attest. I can't attest for the promises I make on this thing. I would prefer it much like a back alley bathroom. I would prefer it if I didn't know you. How's that?
Okay.
All right, guys. I'm done. I think.
You well done.
I'm
You-
done.
You didn't bury it. I'm Scotty. He was Jordan. Rest in peace. And we'll be back next week. See ya.